So, as you guys, it is recording now. So, as people are hopping on, hello. My name is Kim Kane. For those of you who haven't met me yet, I'm a triple diamond with It Works, and I've been in for 4 years. I do these Zooms every single Sunday, same time, 9 o'clock Eastern. And tonight we have someone super awesome on. I mean, I just kind of like quote unquote met her myself, but her story, you guys, like that's why the picture says get on Zoom tonight, because her story is going to blow your mind. So I'm just going to let her take over pretty much. So Nicole, go ahead and tell them about you. Like what rank, how long have you been in? And then literally just that story that you told me that I'm like, okay, you have to share that. Hold on, wait, you're muted. Hold on, let me unmute. Go ahead.
Unmute.
Nope.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
There we go.
So my name is Nicole Scuderi, and I am a presidential diamond from Las Vegas. I've been in the business a little over 2 years. It'll be 3 years in June. And I'm a mom. I'm a wife. We have a blended family. Like our situation's kind of just like crazy. There's like craziness happening in our life all the time. I am still a full-time accountant. And I know that some people are like, oh my God, she still works full-time. But I love being an accountant, and I love numbers, and I love spreadsheets, and like it like for real gives me like a lady boner. So I'm obsessed with it. It does. I love it.
Yep. I didn't know that.
Like, something about like figuring things out that I'm just like, oh my God, I'm obsessed. Anyways, tax season, like, and It Works like busy season overlap each other. And it's total craziness. But anyways.
Yes.
Okay. So my story. So yeah. So when I first started, I had been unemployed, and I was fired from like my dream career. I was a manager on the Strip over 2 properties. And I was like the youngest manager on the casino strip. And I kind of thought I was tough shit. Like I really thought I was untouchable. I thought like, you know, basically they couldn't do anything to me. Like I was young and smart, and I had my fancy degree, and I was like for sure thought that like this was like my road to CFO-hood, right? Well, obviously that did not happen. I like am really outspoken, and so I just rocked the wrong boat, and it ended in not a good turnout. So I was unemployed for a few months, and it's like once you are fired in the finance world out here, like you're almost like black booked. So it was impossible for me to find a job. I did like some forensic accounting for a little while, and then I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And so I came across this girl on a mom's group because I had gained a ton of weight, and I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? So I tried the products for like 2.5 seconds. I think I was a customer for like literally a week. And then she posted, who wants a $500 Ruby bonus? And I was like, oh my God, I need $500. Like I need to pay this car payment, and I need to pay this car insurance. So like, what do I have to do? And I'd never heard of network marketing. I was one of those people, I had never heard of It Works. I didn't even know what this was. Like she told me that you could put a patch on you that would make you skinny. And I was like, whatever. Like, I don't care. Who am I selling this? What do I do with this thing? Mm-hmm. So I didn't do anything the first week. Like I signed up, and I didn't do anything the first week. Like I was one of those really stubborn like distributors that was like, I just want to wait for my kit to come. Like I'm not going to post. I'm not going to do this. Like I told my enroller that I wasn't going to build her a team. I told her that I wasn't going to rope people into this pyramid scheme. And I just wanted to sell products. And so she was like, okay, well, you could get a car bonus if you have 60 customers. So that was my goal. My goal was simply to sell products at retail, because at the time I was like, I could sell sand to a camel. Like I can do this, no problem. So then my enroller signed somebody else up and placed that person under me. And that girl took off. She's one of my closest friends now, but she signed like 17 customers in her first week. And I am like so red and so competitive that I was like, no. Like this person is not going to make more money than me. Like who is this chick? So then I messaged my enroller, and I'm like, okay, how do I get this $500 bonus? She explained what it meant to be Ruby. So I went Ruby in 3 weeks. I was like, nope, nobody is going to come in here and make more money than me. Like, and it's not going to happen. So a few months later I went Emerald, and a few months later I went Diamond. Like my husband and I were able to get pregnant. We've been trying for forever. And I think just the stress of not having a job was like part of the issue. And then I went back to work, which was like right around when I was going Emerald-ish, I went back to work. But It Works was like this like thing that was always there. Like it was paying off all this debt. It was like doing all this stuff for us. So I was like, okay, I really want this. So I went to conference super pregnant, like ridiculously pregnant. And so when I came back, we got charted for double. And then like I landed in the hospital. Well, I landed on bed rest. And then I gave birth to our son like 7 to 8 weeks early. And I missed like the first month of his life. I I got a blood clot, and the blood clot traveled to my lung, and I literally like collapsed my lung. They call it a pulmonary embolism. So it's a PE. So I got
I
pneumonia.
watch Grey's Anatomy. Yeah.
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 Lung. I couldn't breathe. None of the antibiotics were working. I contracted an infection while I was on the ICU unit. I was literally drowning, like in my own like fluids. I couldn't walk. I couldn't eat. Like I was like shriveling up. And you guys, when I say like I felt like I was dying, it's because I really was like dying. And I remember I texted my enroller and I was like, listen, like it was May of what year are we in? This was like 2 years ago. So I was like, so a year ago. So I was like, I need to get to double. Like if something happens to me, like my husband and my kids have come accustomed to this life. Like I'm bringing a new baby in the world. Like I don't want, I need you to help me get there. And I remember like I kept the text and I told her like, I'm not going to make it out of this hospital. Like I'm not going to do it. And I don't know how to get out of here. You guys, like, I don't know if you guys are religious, so forgive me for sharing the story, but I went to bed that night crying my eyes out. They give you so much pain medicine, you're like hallucinating. And I swear to God, like God himself came and was like, listen, if you want to give up, no one will fault you for it. Like you can just let go. Just like let go. It'll be okay. Just let go. And I woke myself up crying. That next morning, I finally got out of bed after 2 weeks of being like in bed. They drained my lung. They cut into my back and drained my lung. Like it was so painful. I went double diamond in a hospital bed. I like woke up. I got out of bed. I went to the bathroom for the first time by myself. I walked and I was like, you know what? This is not going to beat me. And so we went double diamond that month, which was the most surreal. Like my fingers, I thought were going to fall off. It was crazy. So then I finally get out of the hospital and I unfortunately was plagued with like postpartum depression, just depression in general. Like life was just happening all around me and like I wasn't in my life. And then, so that was May. And then in May, June. So in July, I lost double diamond and I was sort of just like, okay, that's fine. I still have diamond. Like that's okay. Well, then in August, I was diagnosed with cervical cancer and lupus and RA all at the same time. And so I was like, oh crap. Well, I just let life happen to me. Like it was like life was happening and I really wasn't in it. And so it took all the way from like August to January of this year for them to get like a treatment plan and get their like crap together. But in that time, I felt all the way to Ruby. Like I had given up on myself. I closed down my team page. I withdrew from all my other, like my Ambassador Diamond has a team page. Like I withdrew from her team page. Like I just shut everybody off. I shut my husband off. Like my marriage suffered so much. We're still recovering from the first cancer. And I say that because the story gets worse. So I just was like, just really a lot of like life was happening. My husband and I like moved into 2 different houses because he just could not handle like the craziness. And like I said, we are a blended family. My oldest son is special needs. He's bipolar and he has ADHD and he's on the autism spectrum. And there's like a lot of life happening. And then my husband's 2 kids both have learning disabilities. So there's just like, yeah, a lot of life. So January comes around, actually no, December of last year, we're in Costa Rica and we spent like our last little bit of money trying to salvage our marriage. Like, do we need to get away and just be together? And he was like, I really think that you just need to make a decision. Like, do you want to be in this company anymore? Because if you don't, no one's going to fault you. And I was like, what did you say? Because the same thing was said in my head when I was battling the blood clot. And he was like, if you want to quit, no one's going to fault you. Like, no one's going to look bad about you because of everything happening to you. And at that moment, I realized like, okay, no, like I wasn't going to let a blood clot take my life, and I'm not going to let losing rank take my business. So January, I had my hysterectomy, and I looked at my husband and I was like, listen, like, I want to do this. I want to be in this company. So I had been ghosting my enroller for like 6 or 7 months. Like, she would reach out to me, I would ignore her. She'd reach out to me, I would ignore her. Like, I was the epitome of just like, I mean, I don't know how else to explain it. I literally ghosted her. So I couldn't go to conference this year because I was recovering from my hysterectomy. Like, it was bad. I couldn't walk. Like, I tried to get myself to the bathroom. I had slipped and fell. Like, it was just a hot mess. So I couldn't go to conference, but I watched conference on pay-per-view. And so the reason I tell that story is because there are lots of reasons why people can't go to conference. Number one, I think events are insanely important. But number two, like, if life is happening to you, which is fine, there's still ways to be connected. Even seeing conference on pay-per-view, I could feel the energy. I was like, oh my God, like, this could be so life-changing. And they came out with the bonuses. And I was like, okay, I really want to do this. Like, I just want to get back to double. So March 1st rolls around. My enroller posted on the team page, like, that she was taking somebody triple. And you guys, guess what? It wasn't me. You want to know why? Because I wasn't running an auto ship. I wasn't working my business. I wasn't posting consistently. I ghosted her for 7 months. Like, I pretty much just was like falling off the face of the earth. And the girl that had signed 17 customers when I first joined, that was who she was going to work with to take triple. Now, for somebody who's like super competitive and like kind of just needs, like, I did not want people to know that I was not doing all of those things. And so I was humiliated. I was like, oh my God, everybody's going to know now that, like, I have fallen all the way down to Ruby. And my husband was like, well, like, you didn't do what you're supposed to do. So what are you going to do now? So March 1st, the last day of February, I was paid as a Ruby. That check was $502. Fast forward 31 days, and we promoted to triple diamond in March of this year. So an average Ruby has like 4,000 in volume, and an average triple has like 50,000 in volume. So like, a lot of stuff happens.
So you said, say that one more time. So from
the last day of February, I was paid as a Ruby with a $500 check. And then on 31st, I got a $50,000 go fast bonus for triple.
Okay. That's the part, like, let me back up. So while you had cancer, or while you were recovering, right?
Yeah. While I was recovering from the first hysterectomy.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. We're going to do this.
Yeah. Okay. And what made, like, the reason I wanted to hear, why I wanted my team to hear your story is because that's powerful that you did that, even though you had all these things holding you back. Because I hear people say, oh, I can't because I work a full-time job. And in my head, I'm like, oh, if only you knew, that's not an excuse. So, like, what made you go from pretty much Ruby to triple diamond like that? Like, what did you start implementing, or what triggered in your head?
Well, okay, so the trigger was like humiliation. I mean, and everyone's like triggers are different, but for me, it was like I really felt humiliated. I felt like everybody knew that I had given up. And I didn't want them to know. Like, I didn't want to be known for the person that gave up. Even though I still believe that if I would have walked away, people would have been like, you know what? She had a lot of life happening to her. They wouldn't have faulted me, but that's not like who I wanted to be. On top of that, I have 4 kids, and the kids look up to every single thing that I do. And if all of a sudden, like, It Works was a part of our life. Like, they saw products coming every month. Like, I remember at one point in time, like, when I had my surgery, my son is so funny, but I was like, oh my God, because after you have a hysterectomy, like, you kind of balloon up, and like, my son was like, oh, it's okay, Mom, you can put a wrap on that. But guys, I wasn't running my auto ship, so I didn't have any wraps.
Right.
Okay, problem number 1. But yeah, so my trigger was just like being humiliated and knowing that, like, my kids were watching me, and like, I wanted to show them that no matter what happens to you in life, like, you can rebound from it. I don't care how long it takes, but you can do it. Now, I never thought I was going to get to triple. Like when I started this business, I saw double diamond and that's what I wanted. And I was stuck on being a double diamond.
Me too. Me too.
Right? When I became a double diamond, I was like, cool, like I've reached my goal. Like I'm just going to coast here because that's what I want to be. Mm-hmm. What I didn't realize is that like, and I think it's because we're programmed, because we work 9 to 5 jobs, we're programmed to think like, okay, you reached this goal and like, that's where your ceiling cap is. But network marketing truly made me realize that there, like just the income potential alone, let alone the lifestyle potential, there is no ceiling. Like the only ceiling that's there is the one that I was putting in front of myself. And then my son, like at the same time he was diagnosed in January when I got my hysterectomy, and his therapy is very expensive. So I don't know if any of you on here have special needs kids, but I'm going to throw some numbers at you. ABA alone is like $250 a week. Insurance, those are insurance copays. His brain therapy was $6,000. His visual therapy was $3,000. Just to get through, he has dyslexia. Just to get through like the dyslexia was like 20 grand. I was working a 9 to 5, like that wasn't happening. So my kids, my life, like that was the trigger. March 1st, I realized like I have to do something. So March 2nd, I pulled reports from eSuite and I figured like, okay, these are all the people who aren't canceled. And I sucked up my pride and I personally either messaged, called them, or contacted them on Facebook. And I first apologized for abandoning them because that was my fault. Nobody made me dip out on these people. Some of them were brand new when I left them. They were brand new. My husband at one point in time was paid higher than I was. Yeah. Like he was ranked higher than me. So I remember like I was paid, I think in January, I was paid as a ruby and he was paid as an emerald. So when people tell me like, oh, this is a pyramid scheme, I'm like, impossible. My husband had a higher paycheck than I did. Like that's impossible. Yep. So there's that. So I personally messaged every single distributor and I first apologized for number one, not being transparent with them. Nobody knew what was going on with me. They basically saw like a few things on Facebook, but I wasn't transparent about it. One, because I was humiliated, not just as like a distributor, but as a woman. Like I went through a lot of stuff in my head where I thought like, oh my God, I have cancer because I did something. Like happening to me because I did something. And so I felt like who could be inspired by somebody who's sick? Like who would want to buy from someone who's sick? And what I never realized is that people want you to be transparent. When they know you're fake, they don't want anything to do with you. And so I had to build that relationship and trust with my team, but fast. And the only way to do that is to be transparent and honest. And there were some people who had a lot of really nasty things to say to me. Yep. There were some people who were just like, you know what, I don't believe you. Like, I'm not coming back to this business because you're just going to do this to me again. And I'm not going to put my family through that. There were a lot of people who I trained really badly. Like when I first started, I didn't really tell people about the, $20 a month website fee. And for some people that was a big deal. And I never thought of it as a big deal because I was like, whatever, it's $20. But I realized like, okay, I'm not being transparent. And that's why people get a bad taste in their mouth when we're not like transparent with them. And I didn't tell people like, oh, there's a $35 a year fee. And so people were like, you never told me this. And when I asked you like, okay, what are all the costs? Like you didn't tell me. And they were like, you told me that, we were going to have a family and be a support system and you dipped on me. Like you just left me. And so I spent like the second and the third just like taking hits, like, so then I weeded out the people who were like, screw you basically. And I had the people who were left. So then I charted with those people. Okay. And in my crazy mind, like I swear my son's ADHD comes from me. I sometimes think I'm on the spectrum because I just think so weirdly. So like I developed this plan. I'm like, okay, this is, we're all really busy people. Like we have to figure out how to work this business in a few hours. So I developed all of these like ways to work my business. So one, I knew that interacting on Facebook was a big key. So I developed, and like, it's obviously gotten better as we've gone on, but we developed this thing we call the letter of the day. And it's basically like my husband or my son or my stepdaughter or whoever picks a letter every day. And that's the letter that the team focuses on. So we download our Facebook friends list, we go to that letter, we interact, like, comment, we build relationships with them. We do not talk about It Works. we just build relationships. We weed people out of our Facebook that we don't want. So I was like, okay. So we developed that. I do that in a power hour. So that's something we do every single day. Now that has matured as like time's gone on. But when I first created it, it was basically like, okay, just go to this letter and interact with these people so that they know that you're relevant. Well, as like time's gone on, it's more intricate than that. Now we're building relationships with people on our friends list that we probably don't see. Like some of us, have a few thousand friends. Like you're not going to see everybody. So it was this way that we could work one focused hour doing algorithm-based improvements, weeding out people who are never going to be in our business. Like you guys, it's okay to be picky. Like if there's someone on your Facebook that you're like, this is such a negative, horrible, ugly person, I don't want to be near them. That's okay. Like it's okay to cut that stuff out of your life. And sometimes you need to do that. So this allowed us to do that. It also allowed us to network build. So like, let's say I go to Kim's profile, we're friends. I'm liking and commenting on her stuff. I like Kim. I think that Kim would be great on my team. I'm going to put Kim on one of my Facebook friends lists. I created friends lists. Well, what if Kim never signs? Okay. Now in my crazy mind, I'm thinking, well, Kim's a real person. She's not in network marketing and she's probably friends with people just like her. So I'm going to go to her friends list and I'm going to add like just 2 to 3 people, because if Kim does sign, I don't want to have 500 mutual friends with her. I only want 2 to 3 mutual friends with her. So I'm going to go to her page. I'm going to pick people who have less than 5 mutual friends with me, because I don't want to cannibalize. Like this is one team, one mission, not one team, one potential. Like we do not attack other people's, like we just don't do it. There's like billions of people. There's like 7 billion people in this world. We don't have to do that. So I'm like, okay, this one little power hour can accomplish all of these things. Perfect. That's what we're going to do. Then I was like, okay, I, have a full-time job. Most of my people have a full-time job. So we also developed like a schedule. Like, okay, we need to set reminders. Like we need to like set some sort of schedule that works for us. So like my schedule is going to be a little bit more intense than like somebody who just started. But this way, like, we're doing things that are income producing and we're not wasting our time. So that was the second thing. And then the next thing is so as a team, we all went back through like our messenger, our Instagram messenger, to all the people that we had talked to from the moment we started this business that hadn't signed yet. And for me, it was a lot of people, because like my follow-up when I first started this business really wasn't that good. And so I would like message a person once or twice and then I never followed up with them. Mm-hmm. So I remember these statistics because people ask me all the time. In March, I spoke to 1,200 people. Those were either people who I needed to follow up with. Those were people who were new that I got from my letter of the day. I also did 2 expos. You guys, I was healing from a hysterectomy. I had to sit at the expo because I couldn't stand. And I was just super transparent with people. Like I'd be like, you know what, I'm recovering from a hysterectomy. I can't stand, but I'd love to talk to you about this business. And they were so receptive to that. My husband stepped up his game. Like he still wasn't like keen on the business. He was still kind of like, I don't know, you're going to bail again. I'm not sure. But he was still like there, made sure that I got to and from the expos. So I did expos for the first time. I had never done them before. And then I partied. I did so many parties, online parties, Facebook parties, Zoom parties, in-person parties. Like I swear to God, there was a party happening every single day. So people ask me like, where the hell do you get all these parties from? I'm going to tell you. How many of you guys talk to people and they're like, oh, I'm not interested, or oh, I don't have the money, or no, not right now. Guess what? All those no's, those were party people. Yeah. Oh, do you want to try something? Cool. How about you throw a party? And they're like, what? I'm like, just throw an online party. You need to invite 10 friends. They have to interact. And as long as they interact, I'll let you pick, either 5 days of probiotic, 5 days of greens, like something that I could sample that wasn't going to cost me an arm and a leg, because my last check was $500 and I didn't have I just didn't have it. Mm-hmm. So I talked to 1,200 people. Okay. 151 people told me no before one person signed. I heard 151 no's. If I would have quit at like the 6th or 7th no, I would not be on this Zoom right now. Kim wouldn't even know who the hell I am. Like, I don't know who this chick is. So like that, I tell all the newbies all the time. I'm like, listen, 151 people told me no, like physically told me no, didn't even ignore me, like told me no before they signed. So in that month, I signed 106 customers and 12 distributors that month. 106 customers and distributors.
And it's a numbers game. It's a numbers game. Like, I really feel like the more, obviously, you know, a lot of you on here know that, but the more people you talk to, the more people are going to say yes. I believe that. That's crazy. That's crazy.
I believe that the more people who tell you no, the more yes you will eventually get.
Yes.
Because like of those 151 first no's, like I got at least 15 to 16 parties out of that. And then they might have said no the first time, but eventually like they had a party and like somebody signed from their party and then that person threw a party. And you guys, I'm still like, it's December. I'm still reaping the benefits of parties from people that I talked to in March.
Yeah.
Like so told so-and-so who told so-and-so. Like now I know and understand that my model of business might be like, could be too much for some people, but I try everything. And I feel like if you don't try it, you'll never know what your niche is.
Yes.
Never. Like I would have never realized that I'm fantastic at events, not to like toot my own horn or anything, but I'm so much better at events than I am with social media because I want to be in front of that person. I have a really weird, quirky, just odd personality with my weird colored Smurf hair. Like I need to be in front of them. And so I would have never known that I would have been good at that if I didn't at least try just one time. And like I have girls on the team who would have never thought that they would be good at parties if they didn't just try. We use social media to either fuel follow-up or, you know, we still use it. It's still a huge impact and part of our business, but those other aspects, like you don't know unless you try. Okay. Especially right now, it's December. Like there's holiday events. I swear to God, like every single weekend, like there's the school, there's ones at the library. They're like 25, 50 bucks. Some of them are free. Like, and all I needed, I used other distributors' empty bottles. Like you don't have to have the product on you because if they sign up as a retail customer, they can do it straight through your website.
Yeah.
So, and you still make the same, like, you know, 40% commission off of them as if you had it in your hand, but now you don't have to pay for anything. So I called around to all the distributors in Las Vegas and I was like, do you have empty boxes? Do you have empty boxes? Like, can I use your empty pill bottles? And they're like, yeah, sure. I stuffed them with like tissue paper and I used those for display. Nobody would have known.
And like real quick, as far as parties go, because we were talking online, we were chatting and she's like, you know, I kind of do everything. And I'm like, so do I, because it's like the more you get out of your comfort zone, the more that you reap the benefits of rocking this business. And you guys have to understand, she's a presidential, I'm a triple diamond. So we're not talking to a Ruby. So if this is like a lot for you, if this is like a lot of numbers, well, that's how she got to presidential. So if you're like, whoa, that's crazy, think, you know, you're going emerald or maybe you're going diamond, think those numbers. But just today, you know, I made that post. I don't know if you guys saw it, but I made a post that just said, hey, I'm doing a winner chicken dinner, like whatever, just comment your favorite emoji. I sent this beautiful message. I messaged them and I asked for their phone numbers. I got their phone numbers and I said, hey, oh my gosh, you actually won. And there was like a script that I sent to all of them. I booked six parties from that and they're all pretty local. And one thing I will say is like, this is the holiday, so I do have a lot going on with my kids and with my business. And I was listening to Cami Pentecost's podcast today, and she said, sometimes you have to miss out on the good to get the great. And you guys, this one lady said, can you do the 19th? And I'm like, can you do literally any other day? That's the night that my kids get to see the reindeer at the library. Like, can you do any other day? She's like, I can only do the 19th. And I'm like, okay, we're doing the 19th then. Like, I want presidential. Sometimes you have to, I'm sure, you know, Nicole can relate, but miss out on the good to get the great. My kids are still going to go see Santa. We're still going to go to Frankenmuth. It was the reindeer. I'm like, no, but you know what? Sometimes you have to say no to the good just to have the great. And so 5 parties. Yeah. And Kaylee says, parties are how I kicked butt so much last month. Yes. I just wanted to like quickly give my little tidbit on parties because that's how your volume goes through the roof.
Well, here's something about parties too. I think some people think that you have to be in person and you don't necessarily. Like I throw online parties and I just go live in the party and it's just as interactive. So like what I'll do is if they can't like be in person, or like I throw parties for people that are in other countries all the time, and I'm up at like 2:00 in the morning when it's like, you know, whatever time for them. I'm like, oh my God, I never freaking sleep. Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll be like, hey, I'm throwing an online party like this day of the week. Like you just need to invite 10 friends and they have to interact, or like pick 5 friends or 2 friends or whatever friends that you want to do. And then, you know, I have a check-in page and they have to just comment like who invited them, so I can keep track of, okay, yeah, this person brought her people or whatever. You can do them online. I had one girl in March who was like super bougie. And she was like, I am not doing a Facebook party because I don't want my other friends to know that I'm doing this. So is there like a more private way? I'm like, yeah, we can do a Zoom. So you need to download this app and you do this, this, and this. So she's like, okay, my sorority sister said they would do it with me, but I don't want any of my family or friends to know that I'm doing this. I'm like, okay, whatever. Guess what, guys? Her bougie self signed up as a distributor, and that girl is killing it. Like,
that's so funny.
I'm like, God, you're so bougie. Oh my God, let me do it with you.
But it's proof though, when you get the person in front of you, what can actually happen. Like, that's why I'm so into belly to belly. So
yeah. And like, I make funny, like I'm funny about it. Like when I got on the Zoom, I'm like, okay, like what kind of people are we on here? Like, do I need to go do my makeup real quick? Or like, are we cool with the mom bun? Like, what do you guys need me to do? And like, they laugh and they're like, oh, this girl's funny. Like, ha ha ha.
That's the key to doing parties, is being you. Like, I'm cracking people up the whole time and being myself. Yeah, that's key to doing parties.
And like, I think these people know your personality. Like, you know, I also, like, when I do parties, like, I always sit at people's eye level, like, if I'm in person with them, because I don't want to feel like I'm talking down to them. Like, sometimes I'll sit next to them on the couch. Like, I also, and I don't tell a lot of people this, so, like, you guys get the scoop. You really want to know how I really killed parties? I threw facial parties. Like, legit. Go comment, go post on your Facebook right now. How many moms want to do a mom's night out? Your shit will blow up. And then go all those people and be like, hey, I'm doing mom's night out on this Friday. You can do a $25 facial. It's an hour long. And they're like, I'm there. I'm like, yeah, I'll bring the wine. And I'm like, I bring wine. And then I told my husband, like, I'm sorry, I need to use the credit card because I need to buy the facial products. Like, I have to do this. You guys, every Friday is Facial Friday at my house. And
I love that.
A rotating wall of people's faces. Like, it just, but like our team, and here's the biggest thing is consistency. Like our team, I tell them, like, the second you stop doing something, people are going to be like, oh, she's over it. So like, no matter what, like if I'm out of town, I'm like, oh, we're doing Facial Friday, but it's at like Stacy's house or it's at Paris's house or wherever, but we're still doing it. And so for the people who are out of town, I'm like, do Facial Friday. Like, it's really super easy and you're running an auto ship anyway. So just, you know, use your wrap rewards to get those facial wraps. You're making wrap cash, like all of those things. So in March, we did, like I said, we did our first event and that was crazy. And at the time, like, so my first event, we sold like 10 wraps and I was like, oh my God, I can make so much wrap cash. Like, holy crap, like 10 wraps for me. I was like, man, I just paid for the expo fee. Like nothing came out of my pocket. So I felt really, really, really good about that. But yeah, so March was crazy. March 31st is my birthday. So it was even better to get that bonus. Story hasn't even got crazy yet. Okay. April rolls around, right? And my husband's like, how about we go VIP elite? And I'm like, what? Like, I don't know. I don't know if I can be presidential. Like, I don't know. Like, you do all this extra stuff. Like at Triple, you don't have to, but you host one team, one missions. And like, I was like, oh my God, I can't get up in front of all these people. Like, I can only do small settings. Like, oh, I can't do this or whatever. Well, my husband was like, yeah, you can. So April rolls around and he's like, you know what? I want to be a double diamond too. I'm like, what? I'm like, okay. So in April, I got with his team and his team promoted to double diamond and they got that Go Fast bonus. And so all we did is the same thing, but we implemented one more thing. And that was a consistent schedule. And it was because our newbies were coming in and they didn't know what to do. They were like, how do I throw an online party? Like, what is a power hour? So what I started to do is I created a schedule. So like Mondays were team, like you guys do Sunday for team trainings, like Monday nights were team trainings. Tuesday was team power hour. So like I created all these different like things that I do in an hour so that I could work side by side with my team. A lot of our power hours turn into, hey, 15 minutes before power hour, go post a picture on Instagram or Facebook so that when power hour starts, they have people to message. And then I help them with their messages. So that was that. Wednesday was Wrap Wednesday, and it's at our other presidential upline's house. So they can send potentials to Wrap Wednesday, and it's like one big conglomerate party. And then Thursday is an online opportunity. So like me, pretty much anybody who's double diamond or above, we all rotate and we do like a Facebook event, and everybody can invite their potentials and we help you guys close the deal. And so that's Thursday. Friday is Facial Friday. Saturday is a mandatory, you have to go live about a product. Like you can go live all the week, I don't care. But Saturday is you have to go live about a product. It is required, like no questions asked. So you guys can do it at any point at any time. And then Sunday, we do like a Sunday night online party. And like I said, we all rotate. So it's like, I don't have to worry that every single Sunday I'm going to miss out on dinner or whatever, like, because we all rotate. And that's being, in my opinion, one team, one mission. We all help each other out. And so I implemented that in April. And what I found is that I actually had to do less work because I didn't have to like teach each individual person because we could all do it together. I also implemented so now that I had my team like booming again, I restarted my team page. I've had all these new people. I implemented diamond chats. And so basically how those work is like, if you're charted diamond, you get your own chat. And it started to build this like layered leadership. So what happens? You have a new person. They have 5 million questions, which is awesome. I love that. But I was enrolling like 12 to 20 distributors a month. I'm answering the same question 500 times. So I'm like, oh my God, how can what do I do? So the new person gets in the chat, they're introduced. The new person starts asking questions. Well, what started to happen is like the other teammates, they want to help, especially if you have people who are like yellow personalities, they are all over helping people. They're like, oh my gosh, like they can't help. So what happened is like the new people and the executives were like asking questions. Well, the rubies were like, oh my gosh, I can answer some of these questions. And then the emerald was like, I can really answer these questions. And then the diamond was like, I only need to focus on like a few people. And so what started to happen is like that close-knit family that my team really wanted started happening in like clusters of like 25. And all these, and everybody started feeling like this part of this team. And I loved it because I was like, oh my gosh, everyone's questions are getting answered. And I'm creating this like layered leadership so that I don't have to do everything myself, because when you carry the weight of the world on your shoulders, your hair falls out. It falls out. I'll tell you right now. So one of the things that I did in April, I did a baby expo, and I sold 100 wraps at this baby expo. I couldn't believe it. I was like all my wrap rewards and my husband's wrap rewards and like all that we had, like I had signed my mom up and she had like gotten free product. And so we had accumulated like all these wraps really fast. And I was like, you know what? My goal was to sell 50, but I brought 25 boxes of wraps with me anyways, because I don't know. I sold every single wrap. I went home with nothing. I couldn't believe it. A little bit about this expo. It had like, I think 500 or 600 moms there. And it was 2 days, and it was the most insane thing. Okay. 100 wraps times $25, guys.
Yeah. I was going to say 2,500. Yeah. 2,500. That's nuts.
Like more than what my husband's diamond check was like ever. Yeah. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this. Like events are my thing. Oh my God. So I paid for my event expo. I paid for our travel. I paid for like the whole weekend was pretty much free, because and then we made a profit, and then we covered our, like everything. It was amazing. So my husband promotes to double, and then May rolls around, and like, I don't know, we were just on this like crazy train, There was all this crazy momentum. And it was like, not a lot of people, which I think is silly, but I think that once like that, like April-ish time rolls around, people are like, oh, it's summertime. Like I want to hang out with my kids. They want to slow down. And we did not slow down. We kept going. And so in May, we did an expo every single weekend on Saturdays. And we kept with our diamond chats. We kept with our parties. Like we just kept doing the same things, consistency over and over and over again. when I started in March, my Instagram had like 2,500 followers. I have 11,000 followers now. And that is purely from, I work my business in power hours. Like I don't have a lot of time. You guys don't have a lot of time. So I constructed my business around only having 15 to 30 minutes to 45 minutes to an hour to be able to work my business. Now I have a video called the Few Hour Workday where I go more in depth to what that looks like, and I can send it to Kim, but I like go in depth to exactly what that looks like. As a presidential, I work my business for like 4 hours a day.
That's so beautiful.
All really intense work. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I close my door, my kids do not speak to me. Like, don't talk to me. I'm working, period. My lunch at my accounting office, I don't talk to anyone. I am not there to socialize. I'm there to work. Because all those people are my customers anyway. So it doesn't matter. At this point, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'll follow up with you eventually.
I'm like, I can't build any more relationships because people never leave that office. So my lunch hour is my letter of the day hour. Like when I wake up in the morning, I wake up half an hour before my kids. I do like touch base with my team, touch base with my diamond chat, post to my Facebook list, and then I go do about my stuff. I literally take like 4 to 5 bathroom breaks. People probably think I have a bladder infection because all the freaking time. And what I love is I do a power hour in my bed at night called creating content. And it usually doesn't take me an hour, but I just call it that. But I basically I'll take photos and like I will edit them, or I will write my messages or write whatever, so that when I need to post, when my alarm goes off and says, oh, you need to post, it takes me 2 seconds to post. I copy from my create content note on my phone and I post a picture, and that's that. Like, because I am laying in bed, my husband's watching God only knows what. And, you know, that's my time to do that. And because I have the information on my fingertips, it's quick and it's easy. And teaching, like, for me, repetition is duplication, and duplication is what makes your business grow. And so when your new people see easy things, they're like, oh crap, I can do that. Like, I can work my business in a schedule. I'm a stay-at-home mom and I have kids running around everywhere. Like, I need, you know, structure. Most of these people are coming from 9 to 5s and they're used to someone telling them what to do. So what I try to do is give them like an outline or a template, and I let them basically work with their own schedule. Like, my new distributor training consists of create a schedule, create photo albums on your phone, watch your product training. Like, it's very just like to the point, and I try to create organization from the get-go because less people are likely to bounce out of that. So we did the same stuff. We just did more of the same stuff. And so in May, we promoted to presidential and got the $100,000 Go Fast bonus. And I swear to God, I thought I was going to pass out.
I literally can't wait. And there's no bonus, and I don't even care. I just want presidential. Like, I love that you got $100,000, but just presidential. Like, and that's my goals. So like, I feel like I'm talking so loud I'm going to wake my kids up, but I can hear one of them right now, actually. But and I want you guys to keep in mind, some of you are going for ruby, some of you are going for emerald, diamond, double, and we have, you know, I think she's still on here, Kaylee, going for triple. Yeah, she's still on here. And so keep it in mind, like, she's doing this and I'm doing stuff, but do what works for you. And she keeps it really simple. So the point, I guess, is, like, for me anyway, stay consistent in your business, especially during these busy months where most people make excuses. Like during December, so many people are staying busy. And so there's all this, how did Katrina Ferguson say it? I said it on my live the other day, but there's all this unmarked potential that people are not gonna snag up because people are making excuses during the month of December. And just like, you know, I said no to the reindeer and it broke my heart because I know Eric would flip, but I know that in the long run, I'm helping my team and my why and myself, and my why is big enough. So if you don't have a why, like literally, you guys, all I have to do is think about that time that I couldn't buy Eric M&M yogurt because I didn't have the money. All I have to do is think about that and I'm like, yep, back to work. So you can do this business how you want, when you want. That's the beauty of it. I love that she's a freaking presidential and works an actual job. Like, I didn't know that until the Zoom, and still gets it done. So that's just, and she has kids and she battled cancer and like all this crazy stuff, but she still gets her done. And that's just being motivated, keeping yourself inspired, and running and not making excuses. And also just being consistent, you guys, and making sure that, yeah, when you do power hours, like for me, when I do power hours, it has to be focused. So like, exactly, my kids are nowhere near me, nowhere near me. And I'm actually figuring out, like, I already know what I'm going to do when I do my power hour. I'm not going to sit down and think, okay, what do I need to do? Like, go through my list. I already know what I'm going to do. So, does anybody, if you want to unmute yourself or.
Well, I have something to add.
Yeah. If you have questions, guys, let us know in the comments and then she can answer after.
Yeah, drop your question in the comments because it's easier. But yeah. I have a few things I want to add. So one, when the $9.99 rolled around, do you know why I was successful with $9.99? Because I planted seeds. Here's my thing. If you don't plant seeds now in December, when the boom, like people call it the boom, but think about it, the tax boom, when that happens, you will have nothing to harvest. So I tell my team, be a farmer, okay? Go plant those seeds, water them by following up and talking to people and building that relationship, so that when tax season comes and you know that they have, have whatever their excuse was, no money, whatever, that you can harvest that. Because you can't harvest a dead field. Like if you planted no seeds, you cannot harvest that, okay? In addition to that, I am compassionate towards the fact that life happens. And so I talk to my team about this all the time. Like, I understand that because I've been through it. Like, some leaders haven't. I've lost rank, I've gained rank, I've jumped ranks, I've done it all. What I want to portray is that just because life is happening, it does not mean, like, if you had a 9-to-5 job and life was happening to you, do you stop going to work? No, you don't. Like, you have to still work because you need that paycheck to come in. I told you guys I was diagnosed with cervical cancer in August. We got that hysterectomy and took care of that. Well, fast forward to now, 2 months ago, I was diagnosed with stage 1A ovarian cancer, and I start chemo on Monday, December 11th.
I didn't know if you wanted to mention that. That's why I didn't. So I'm like.
I start chemo on December 11th. Now, I understand that this puts me in a situation where I can't do parties. I can't leave my house. I know that. I can't do events. My treatment schedule takes me all, like, if you know anyone who's ever done chemo and radiation, like, you do chemo, you do radiation, there's trial periods. Like, I am praying to God that I can go to conference. So that means that I can't do events, and I can't do expos. I can't do live parties. So that means that I need to work my business a little bit differently. And so the reason I'm telling you that is because life is going to happen to you no matter what. It will happen. It will always, always happen. But like I said, you still have to go to your 9-to-5. You still have to show up to work. And if you don't show up to work, then you will have no check. And that's really as simple as it is. So for me, I just have to rearrange my schedule a little bit so that it's more social media based. Or I can still book all those parties, and I know that I have, teammates that can go be at those parties. And so that's why being super transparent with my team was very important, because we can all lean on each other and depend on each other and be there for each other when we need it. But it's also consistency. And because we're all used to the same consistency all the time, we all know what to do. Like, we fall right into that schedule. And so, like I said, I'm compassionate towards life happening, because life been happening to me for 2 years, and it is just brutal. But I have to go to work, and my kids need that check, and my son still needs to, he still needs therapy. And I don't know if you guys know this, but chemo's not cheap. So someone's going to pay that bill. So whether it's, your spouse has lost a position, or you're, drowning in debt, or you lost your job and you just started this business, like whatever the case may be, it's simply about being a farmer, and just, you plant the seeds, you build the seeds, you stay consistent, you water them, and then you can harvest it. But you can't harvest what you don't plant. I want to make sure that.
Yeah, and I didn't know if you wanted to mention that. That's why I was like, I like almost said it, and then I'm like, I'll let her bring it up if she wants to. So, and it's true, life happens, but our job and our goal every single day should be to tell the people about the business and the products, whichever way that we can. And so I love that with this business, like she said, you can customize it. I have sidelines that are going through divorces and life, and it's messy, and I've literally watched sidelines, downlines, uplines have to completely shift and alter the way they run their business. They could no longer get outside of their house because they've got kids, no help, no nothing. And they had to make it more social media. So I love that you can alter it. And you guys, my favorite fact that she said is that she's presidential and she works her business like 3 to 4 hours a day. And that's accurate. I'm a triple. I work my business 3 to 4 hours a day. And that's better than, and I get to do that with my kids. Like, that's the coolest part. So I hope that you guys took some awesome tips from her. No one has asked questions, but does anybody have any? We'll give it a moment of silence and see if anybody has any questions. But other than that, I mean, we got some good comments. My daughter is back there, like, kind of sort of crying, kind of like a whimper weird thing, but she's okay for now. But anyway, we had a good turnout, and I really appreciate you sharing with us for sure. Like, when I heard that, you battled cancer, you're battling again, you went down to back up, and you went all the way to presidential, which is the second, what do you call that? Second furthest, I can't even talk. It's almost ambassador. So that's crazy. That's crazy. Melanie, I'm so speechless right now, in awe. Thank you, Nicole. Yeah, it was good stuff, you guys. And I really appreciate you guys being on. To respect your time, we'll just call it good. And just know you do get 5 points. Nicole, you're probably like, what are you talking about? But you guys, you get 5 points just for being on this Zoom. So please make sure that you comment on the cover photo, just so we all know that. But yeah, everybody says thank you so much, Nicole. We appreciate you.
You're welcome. And then if you guys come up with questions, you can always find me on Facebook. So yeah.
Yeah,
cool.
I'm gonna follow her, you guys. Just follow her. You see her last name. Say your whole name.
Nicole Scuderi. It's on Facebook. It's Nicole Scuderi Brookshire, because now, but I didn't change it.
Well, that's like my double diamond on here. Her name is Kaylee Frisbee Horton, but she's finally getting married, so like it'll just be Kaylee Morrison. I'm like, it's gonna be so different, but I appreciate you being on, dude. Thank you guys for hopping on too.
Cool, thank you.
You're welcome. Bye, Nicole.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Have a good night. Oh, thank you for typing it. Okay, bye, guys.